The results are in. And needless to say, I was shocked. What's up, fam? Good morning. Welcome back to another video. The boys are leaving right now. They're actually gonna go get a haircut. They're gonna go get a haircut and they're all throwing fit about it. You like what your hair looks like when it's cut. You just don't like the process of getting it cut. That's just like life. Landon is growing his hair out, but he does need like the sides and the back trim. Dad's gonna take you. Oh, hurry. Your appointment, go. Okay, I'll see you guys back here in 1 hour and we're gonna have a fun day. I have a lot of fun stuff planned, okay? Goodness gracious. My boys fight me on getting their haircut, I swear. But I feel like it's just a matter of like, they don't wanna take the time out of their day. They would rather play soccer or play video games. And of course, like when they go get their haircut, it's like, all three of them getting their haircut, right? So it takes like at least an hour before they're done. Maybe I should try splitting it up, but it's across town. Anyway, it is still spring break around here for 4 out of our 7 children. And today is it's not warm outside, but it's like, there's no wind and it's probably a good, let me check actually. It's gonna be 65 degrees, like that's pretty warm. I wanna have a pool party today. I feel like it'd be so fun. They still have soccer and dance, which kind of sucks, but like the whole beginning half of the day, maybe they can invite some of their friends over. We're not like traveling or doing anything for their spring break, so I feel like a pool party would be perfect. Both our pool and our hot tub have the ability to be heated up. Most of the time we only will heat up the hot tub just because it's smaller and it does take electricity. Gas. I think it's gas. I don't know, but it takes something for it to warm up and it usually takes a little bit more time. It's kind of, you know, pricey to heat it up more than every once in a while, but like the hot tub is not a big deal. Like that's a smaller space. To heat that up takes like 30 minutes. It's really nice, but to heat up the whole pool, that is a little bit more difficult. So we don't do it very often, but we are gonna do that today. I feel like today is the day. We're just gonna have some fun, hang out in the backyard. I just wanna keep the theme going because I wanted to go to Disneyland for spring break and it just ended up not working out. Wasn't in our cards. Toontown just opened up at Disneyland and it's brand new. They still have some of like the old rides and stuff, but the whole space is brand new and I've literally been itching to go. I wanna take like Landen and Addy. I feel like that'd be really fun. I've never taken that combo before and they are the two that have actually been asking me to go. Whereas Kyson and Caden are like, I'm fine for now. So they like have fun going, they do. They just aren't obsessed with it like the girls are, and lately Landen has been on me. He's like, when are we gonna go to Disneyland? I wanna go back. And I'm like, bro, you don't gotta tell me twice. I will make a trip. So, I don't know. We still have a little bit of time left in our spring break. But as for today, we're not going to Disneyland. I wish we were. We can have a pool party though. At least up until soccer practice and dance practice.
Hi guys. Who's ready for
haircut? Not me.
We're gonna get them all cleaned up. And then I think we have a surprise set up for you guys after these haircuts. We'll see what it is, huh? We'll see. All right, boys, you clean up all right. Come here, Landon. Let's see. Look at it. Ooh, all good. All right, we're gonna go. We're actually gonna stop at
the gas station.
Yep, we're gonna stop at the gas station.
Why?
And have you guys pick out
Candy.
a special treat. Yep.
You guys look handsome. Oh, let's see. Work it, boy. Work it. Oh. You guys ready to join the pool party? Okay, they've switched now from swim gear to snow gear. It feels so nice and warm out here. Okay, we are about 3 hours into our pool party. We heated up the hot tub originally. We started heating up the pool and it takes a lot longer than the hot tub does. It's finally warm enough, the pool. So it takes about 3 or 4 hours, it sounds like.
No,
is
jump
it?
in.
I'm scared.
If you jump in, you'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you jump in.
Okay, you do it. I'm scared.
Jump in.
But what if you're tricking me?
I'm not tricking you.
You're not tricking me?
Just jump in with me. Look at, jump in right here. Jump in right here. Just jump in right there. Jump in. You'll feel like coldness for like 3 seconds and then you'll be.
It's cold.
No, for 3 seconds. It won't be that cold.
The shallow part.
Yeah, go in the shallow part first.
Ah, it's cold. You're lying.
Stay in there.
It's like not cold, but it's cold. I get it.
Yes.
Okay. I get what you mean. I get what you mean. It's cold. It's not as cold as it normally is. It's like the perfect temperature for a pool. But it's not warm. It's not a hot tub, that's for sure. Landon's friend is coming over. We just texted him. He's gonna come join us for our pool party. Chris and Matthew just took the girls to dance class. They've got dance right now, so they'll come back and probably finish off their pool party. And then the twins just got dropped off at soccer. So it's just us now. Hello, dude. Welcome to our impromptu pool party. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up. That was your cue. 3, 2, 1, go. Woo! You wanna jump in the big pool, me? No. Okay, I just realized that I left you guys hanging back in January. Okay, back in January, I think it was January, we did a DNA test on Kyson, Caden, Landen, Lilia, and Addy. I have been so excited to see the results, and it seems like each of the results kind of came in at a slightly different time, so I waited to open some of them. I actually filmed me opening the reaction. Sorry, there's like a street sweeper behind the house. So loud. I actually filmed me getting the results for a bunch of them and opening them and seeing what they said, because here's why. Okay, so hear me out really quick. As most of you guys know, I've got a couple different baby daddies, right? So what that means is that a lot of my kids are not full blood siblings, they're half siblings. What I didn't know about like DNA, I guess, and I am no geneticist, okay? But one thing that I've learned is that just because you're full blood siblings does not mean that you're equally related to each other. It's all broken down into a percentage. I highly recommend you look into it if you're interested, because I am definitely not one to sit here and enlighten you on it. Like, I feel like I hardly even understand it, but it is still so fascinating to me. So anyway, I wanted to see how related my kids are to one another, okay? I've got Kyson, Kaden, and Landen. They are obviously full blood brothers. And then I've got Lilia, who would be each of their half sister. And then I've got Addy, which would be all of the kids, every single kid, all 6 kids half sister, right? So that means that she shares DNA with each of her 6 siblings. Lilia will share DNA with the 4, but the 3 boys should in theory share the most DNA with each other because they are full blood siblings. And on top of that, I've got twins, right? So I wanted to see, even though they are fraternal, we know this, that is not new news to us. Genetically speaking, they are no more related to each other. The twins are no more related to each other than any other full-blooded sibling. But because they're twins, I was wondering, like, do they share a little bit more DNA? Well, the results are in. And needless to say, I was shocked. But I'm just gonna go over with you and show you guys, you know, some fascinating things that I found out. So I'm actually gonna start with my profile. I did the same DNA test a few years back, and when a relative gets tested, it automatically puts it into your family tree. So of course, as soon as I did all these kids' tests, they came up as, oh, you have a new relative. It's a girl, boy, girl, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, but I find this particularly interesting because you would think that your kids would be exactly 50% related to you, right? I have learned that that is not necessarily the case. Some of your kids actually share a tiny bit more DNA with you than others. So I'm gonna tell you in order, and you guys can tell me if you're surprised. Chris has already done this test, so Addy has like a complete profile with her mom and her dad. The other 4 kids, their results might change. I did actually send a kit to both Drake and Gabe in case they were interested, just because it really completes that person's profile when they have both sides of their like parents' information, and you really get to learn more. So anyway, to be continued on that. But as for me, my DNA relative, the child that shares the most DNA with me is Kaden. Let me know if you guys are surprised. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Gabe did his, and he has his results back. So anyway, so Lilia's actually is complete. The second child, and it's actually technically a tie, but if you click on the actual percentage, Kaden is slightly, ever so slightly more, but technically he is tied with Lilia. They share exactly 50% of their DNA with me. Next up is Kyson. Kyson shares 49.9% of his DNA with me, and then surprisingly, shockingly, after that, then my parents come in play. So it tells you in order of like who's the most related to you. So after Kyson, I then share more DNA with my mom, followed by my dad, and then after that, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th person who shares the most DNA with me is Addelyn. She shares 49.8% of her DNA with me. And last but not least, Sandy. Landen shares 49.7% of his DNA with me. So now how much DNA do they share with each other? You might be shocked like I was. I'm gonna go from firstborn down. So we're gonna start with Lilia, which Lilia has the most diverse background, which we already knew. Her dad was always told that he was Puerto Rican and Mexican, but we really got to see a breakdown of where her ancestors are from, what her DNA shows. So she is 50% Northwestern European. She's got French and German, British, Irish, Scandinavian, Southern European. I'm not gonna get too into it. I feel like it can get really confusing really fast, but I am largely Swiss. Like people say, oh, you're Irish, like you have red hair. I'm actually Swiss. Swiss Italian is what I've been told growing up. That is like my biggest piece of my genetic DNA. It shows that I'm from Switzerland. So it looks like Lilia has the same. She is 38.8% French and German. That is just like the overall category. And then it shows specifically, it is Switzerland. That's like where her DNA shows that she has in her. Not a geneticist. Anyway, I'm just gonna go quickly over here. She's 14% Spanish and Portuguese. And then she is 17.6% Sub-Saharan African. It shows that she's got West African, Nigerian. This stuff is just so fascinating. We literally spent probably like 3 hours looking at it the first night that we got all of these in. So this is just like a really quick overview. She's also 13% indigenous, and then it shows you right there that is more than likely like where the Puerto Rican is in her. It even shows that she's got Western Asia and North African in her. You can see the Puerto Rico again down there. Anyways, what percentage of her DNA does she share with her siblings? Lilia shares the most DNA with Kyson. The system automatically updates that Kyson is her half brother, so I don't insert that. It just already knows. It shows from her mother's side. She shares 26.92% of her DNA with Kyson. Coming in at number 2 is Landen. She shares 25.7% of her DNA with him, followed by Addie, but it jumps down to 22.48% of her DNA that is shared with Addie. And then last but not least, it is Kaden. She shares the least DNA with Kaden at 20.35%, which fascinates me because on my account, it shows that Lilia and Kaden share the most DNA with me, but they actually don't share the most DNA with each other. So I love genetics, oh my gosh. But overall, she shares 6% more of her DNA with Kyson than she does with the last person on her list, which is Kaden. So cool. Okay, moving on to Kyson. Drum roll, please. Kyson is 88.3% European, and again, largely French and German. He's got that Swiss blood in him that he does get from me, but the boy's dad, he has always been told growing up that he is largely Portuguese. The Swiss blood in him is actually not the most. So if you scroll down, you can actually see his Southern European. He's 37.4% Spanish and Portuguese. So that is definitely from his dad's side. He is mostly Portuguese. Of course, they have a ton of other things in there. It shows he's a tiny bit Jewish. He's got 10% Indigenous American in him, which to me, to my understanding, it seems like the Indigenous category is an umbrella term for many, many, many different places. Again, I'm not a professional. This is just like what I was reading. So it shows here that his Indigenous blood is from Mexico. As for his siblings, everyone's chart reads differently, but the sibling that he is the most blood related to is his twin brother, Kaden. He actually shares 51.77% of his DNA with his fraternal twin brother. That is more DNA than you share with a parent. That is nuts. That's crazy. So I'm shocked, but also not. I don't even know. Coming in second, of course, he has one other full blood sibling. The sibling that comes in next is Landen. He shares 48.67% of his DNA with Landen. Moving on to his half siblings. Lilia takes the lead over Addie. He shares 26.92% of his DNA with Lilia and 25.84% with Addie. On to Kaden. You would think that things would line up pretty similarly, but they actually are very different if you compare them side by side. It shows that he is 50.6% Northwest European, and only 24% of that is that Swiss blood, which showed a lot more in, you know, some of the other kids. So fascinating. He's 22.2% British and Irish, and then his Spanish and Portuguese is 31.2%. So that obviously is from his dad again. Then he's got a little bit of Jewish. I don't know why I'm shocked by this, but he shows that he's actually 15.4% Indigenous. That was significantly more. I mean, a solid, what was that, 5% more than his twin brother. So even though they share the most DNA, their DNA still is so vastly different. It also shows the Mexican in him. Moving on to his siblings, again, Kyson comes in at number 1, his twin brother, at 51.77% of his DNA shared. And then it jumps down significantly, almost a 10% gap from his one brother to the next. That is insane to me. He only shares 42.3% of his DNA with his full-blooded brother. That's crazy. And then he's actually more related to Addie than he is Lilia. He shares 25.77% of his DNA with Addie and only 20% of his DNA with his half-sister Lilia. Those numbers have the most gaps in any other like sibling relationship that I have seen. Just like in our family, when we compare them, like it is crazy how much more related he is to his one full-blooded brother than his other. And even his half-sisters, like that's crazy. He only shares 20% of his DNA with his half-sister. Anyway, next up is Landen with some shocking DNA results. He shows 51.8% Northwestern European, 35.9% of that is Switzerland, only 12% British and Irish. And then the Portuguese, again, that Portuguese blood from their dad, 34.1% Portuguese. But what also shocked me is the difference, again, in the indigenous American in him. He shows 8.5%, and he actually shows 1.6% sub-Saharan African, which his siblings did not have nearly that much in them. Of course, it's only like a 1% difference, but I don't know why. It just seems like a big deal when you're looking at all these numbers and how different they are. Of course, down at the bottom, same as his brothers, ancestors from Mexico, Ethiopian. I mean, it's so cool. As for who he shares DNA with, his number 1 sibling that he shares the most DNA with is Kyson, coming in at 48.67% of his DNA. It is only slightly less than how much he's related to me. As of right now, I am the top person that he shares his DNA with, but it'd be interesting to see like when his dad does his test, what those numbers look like. I have a feeling that he may share more DNA with that side of the family because his numbers across the board are just so different from mine. So coming in at second, another significant gap, Caden, he shares only 42.3% of his DNA with. That is a solid 6% less than he shares with his other brother, who are twins. Like they are twins, and he significantly shares more DNA with one than the other. It's so cool. As for his sisters, he is slightly more related to Lilia than he is Addie. I say related, I don't think that's the correct term. Again, I am not a geneticist. This is just like a very vast basic overview, but he shares 25.7% of his DNA with Lilia and then 24.93% with Addie. So they're pretty similar, not too far apart, not like the big gap that he has with his biological brothers. Last but not least, we've got Addie, which Addie's dad, Chris, he's already done this. We already know both mine and his results, and we know that Chris is largely German. His mom literally came to live here from Germany, and that shows on her report. She is 97% European, 73% of that is Northwest European, showing again that strong Swiss blood, but right behind that is Germany. We actually learned through Chris's DNA test that there wasn't as much German blood in him as he thought. Like his ancestors must have been from different places, even though his mom was like fully German, that's all she knew. We learned that he actually had a lot of Italian blood in him, which I have a little bit as well. So combined between the two of us, she actually is 15.5% Italian. And then everything else is kind of sporadic across the board. It shows she's a little bit Greek, Eastern European, Western Asian and North African, Egyptian. You know, these numbers are all like very spread out, even like some South Asian. So as for her siblings, she has no full-blooded siblings, similar to Lilia. And interestingly enough, she actually shares more DNA with Chris than she does with me. It shows that she shares 49.94% of her DNA with her dad and 49.77% of her DNA with me. Not super shocked about it. Obviously, it's only like a tiny percent difference, but the sibling that she shares the most DNA with is Kyson. Again, I feel like Kyson has taken the top for quite a few of these. She shares 25.84% of her DNA with Kyson, and coming in right behind Kyson, barely slightly less, is Kaden, his twin brother. So she shares the most DNA with Kyson and Kaden. Kaden comes in at 25.77%. Right behind that is Landen. She shares 24.93%. So again, not that much different. Not like some of the other siblings where there's like a vast, huge difference. Coming in last is Lilia at 22.48% of her DNA is shared with her sister. Mic drop. Gosh, this stuff is just so incredible. I was just shocked to see some of these results. It's just so interesting. I highly recommend it. Do those DNA tests. You can get one from like 23andMe, Ancestry does them. There's a bunch of different places that do them now, I think. We did 23andMe, which I really like, but there you have it. So anyway, that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye, guys.